everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Joker Rogers here in Lagos. We start in the DRC, where the lawyer for 3 Americans sentenced to death on charges of participating in a coup attempt has filed an appeal. A military court in Congo handed down death sentences last Friday to 37 people, including 3 young Americans, after convicting them on charges of participating in a coup attempt. The defendants, most of them Congolese, but also including a Briton, Belgian and Canadian, had 5 days to appeal the verdict on charges that include attempted coup, terrorism and criminal association. Outside our shores in St. Petersburg, Russia, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, Jessica Alupo, is seeking support for Uganda to join the UN Security Council. Speaking at the Eurasian Women's Forum, she explained that this would help cure historical injustices in Africa. Russia's foreign ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova replied by acknowledging, in her words, that African countries and Russia find support in each other when they advocate for initiatives that are important to them in the UN, pointing out that Russia's exports to Africa grew by a quarter in 2023. The diplomat also noted that trade with Africa has become direct, which positively impacts the food security in African countries. The Eurasian Women's Forum, which will wrap up on September 20th, is the largest international platform for discussing the role of women in modern society.
Currently, both the global north and the global south are experiencing conflicts. These conflicts have counterproductive effects on humanity, including death, displacement, and destruction of property. Sadly, the women and children are the most affected. In fact, for the case of Africa, I call upon Russia, our historical and traditional ally, to support our efforts to join the UN Security Council under the category of permanent members as one of the measures to cure the historical injustices on Africa. At this critical point, we need a collective strategy for global peace and security with a sustainable approach so that we can meaningfully talk about the education of the women, the education of the girl child, the development and prosperity of all the people globally.
While the UN Assistant Secretary General for Africa, Martha Pobi, is sounding the alarm of mass violence in El Fasher, Sudan, as fighting engulfs the city. Briefing the Security Council, Ms. Pobi warned that the crisis could engulf hundreds of thousands of civilians. The current wave of fighting occurs amidst a months-long siege and attack on the city by the Rapid Support Forces. This has caused escalating levels of suffering for the civilian population, including famine conditions in Zamzam camp, south of El Fasher, among other locations.
Even while millions of lives are at risk across Sudan, hundreds of thousands of civilians trapped in El Fasher are now at risk of the consequences of mass violence as fighting engulfs the city. The current wave of fighting marks the latest chapter of violence in El Fasher and occurs amidst a month-long siege and attack on the city at the hands of the Rapid Support Forces. This has caused appalling levels of suffering for the civilian population, including famine conditions in Zamzam camp, south of El Fasher, among other locations. The stakes could not be higher. The risk of the escalation of fighting, fueling a dangerous ethnic dimension of this conflict, is well known. So are the destabilizing effects for the entire region.
The lives of hundreds of thousands of people, including more than 700,000 IDPs in and around El Fasher, are at immediate threat. Without safe and predictable access and a steady supply of food and humanitarian supplies, we will see a dramatic spike in mortality, including children in Zamzam and in other areas around El Fasher. The atrocious humanitarian situation calls for a rapid de-escalation in the conflict. We are therefore horrified by signs that the fighting will intensify as the rainy season draws to a close in the coming months.
To health matters in Burundi, school-aged children between 5 and 19 years now account for 33% of Mpox cases. This presents a daunting challenge as families prepare for the upcoming school year. Since the first confirmed case on July 25, 2024, out of over 1,500 cases, Burundi has reported 564 Mpox cases, that's 62.9% of which are under 19 years. There have been 1,700 alerts across 34 of the country's 49 health districts, with the 3 health districts of Bujumbura being the outbreak's epicenter. UNICEF is appealing for $58.8 billion to address the rising Mpox crisis across 6 African countries, including Burundi, where children are most affected. The response aims to stop transmission, protect children, and ensure the continuation of essential services. And Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu is not attending the 79th United Nations General Assembly session in New York this year. The president has directed Vice President Kashim Shettima to lead Nigeria's delegation to the meeting. This is contained in a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga. The statement notes that President Tinubu, who returned to the country last Sunday after his trip to China and the United Kingdom, wants to focus on domestic issues and address some of the country's challenges, especially after the recent devastating flooding in Borno State. At the UNGA 79, Vice President Shettima will deliver Nigeria's national statement to the General Assembly, attend important sideline events, and hold bilateral meetings. The high-level general debate with the theme, Leaving No One Behind, Acting Together for the Advancement of Peace, Sustainable Development, and Human Dignity for Present and Future Generations, will run from Tuesday, September 24, through to Saturday, September 28, 2024. Back in Nigeria, the federal government has commenced the dredging and desilting of the Ogun River downstream between Isheri in Ogun State and Ikorodu in Lagos State to check the perennial flooding, which has continued to devastate lives and property in communities around the river. The Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority, Adedeji Ashiru, during the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding for the project at the Ikorodu end, said this has become imperative in view of the expected downpour in the states, which could lead to flooding.
The dredging and desilting of the 10-kilometer Onyo Dam downstream from Ikorodu in Lagos and Isheri in Ogun State is coming at a time after a prediction of heavy downpour by NIMET, and to forestall the perennial devastating effects, the federal government has flagged off the process. The event attracted the presence of the management team of the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority, led by the Managing Director, Adedeji Ashiru, the traditional ruler of Isheri, contractors, community leaders and residents.
The federal government of Nigeria, through the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority, has made provision for the commencement of the dredging exercise, which will be carried out in phases.
While giving the rationale behind the project by the federal government, the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the authority says that there is a need for the dredging exercise to improve the free flow and containment of excess water released from the Onyo Dam, which has always been aggravated by a complex network of 52 rivers and tributaries, which contributes to rising water levels.
The dredging project we are flagging off today aims to improve water flow, from the Ikorodu-Isheri section into the lagoon, reducing flood risk. By dredging this stretch, which is almost 10 kilometers, which will be done in phases, we will create a more efficient discharge path for excess water, alleviating flood risk. This contract represents a significant step forward in solving flooding challenges in this community.
The Isheri traditional ruler and chairman, Lagos-Ogun River Basin Communities, commended the federal government for the project, just as they expressed their support for a successful flag-off and the completion of the project.
The entire Isheri community and Odogun, Ajewole, all of the whole community along this river line are ready and willing to cooperate with you, including all the estates and border communities that we have along the river line. We are ready to work with you. We are ready to give you all the support you would need to make this project a successful one. So I would like to implore the contractor to not hesitate to come to my palace to request and solicit for any help they may need at any time, any day.
This project, if given the necessary attention it deserves, could mitigate the loss of lives and property, which has become a yearly ritual, which has left a bitter taste in the mouth of those affected.
Sustainable healthcare service delivery with quality, accessible, quick and affordable attention have been identified as enablers towards improving the well-being of citizens. Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State emphasized the importance of effective healthcare service during the commissioning of the pharma-grade warehouse for Plateau State Drugs and Medical Commodities Management Agency and the flagging off of the emergency medical services and ambulance system in Jos, the state capital.
Plateau State Healthcare Delivery has been upgraded with the commissioning of the pharma-grade warehouse, equipped with modern technology that align with international standards.
This pharma-grade warehouse for the advancement of the good health of the people of Plateau State and even beyond.
It's all part of a plan to provide affordable healthcare service and improve the health and well-being of citizens.
This new pharma-grade warehouse will serve as a cornerstone of our efforts to build a sustainable healthcare infrastructure, ensuring the availability of essential medicines and vaccines across all the 17 local government areas, especially where they are most needed. As we commission this state-of-the-art facility, we also open a new chapter in our pursuit of a more resilient, accessible, and responsive healthcare system.
Top officials of the Federal Ministry of Health commend the state government's commitment to drugs and medical commodities management, which already has great reviews.
With the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Federal Ministry of Health and Plateau State Government, with the objective which was for parties to collaborate towards establishing a government-led supply chain that is effective, efficient, financially sustaining, and offers quality healthcare services in a manner that is competitive with the private sector business-like approach to achieve the objectives of universal health coverage.
Executive Secretary of the Plateau State Drugs and Medical Commodities Management Agency highlights the importance of such project in providing effective healthcare service to the people.
With its advanced temperature control system, cutting-edge inventory management technology, and stringent security measures, this warehouse will play a crucial role in ensuring that life-saving medications reach patients in perfect condition and on time. We have invested a lot, not just in bricks and mortar, but in the future of healthcare. This warehouse will serve as a vital link between pharmaceutical manufacturers and healthcare providers.
In addition to the commissioning of the pharma-grade warehouse, the governor also flags off the Plateau State Emergency Medical Services and Ambulance System, PLASEMSIS, which marks a significant milestone in the journey towards ensuring accessible and affordable health care.
With over 800 Nigerian women as alumni The United States Consulate in Lagos has launched the second part of the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs. The three-day program had the Consul General, Will Stevens, expressing the target of putting women at the fore of digital economy and fostering innovation in the country.
Hey, Sissy, how are you? You're looking so beautiful.
Women acting out what is normal when they meet, be it at formal or informal gatherings. This time, it's at the instance of the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs 2.0 launch. As the name implies, this is for business, as the United States government is supporting and empowering women by creating platforms for them to showcase their products and services.
Crispy, normal Nigerian food, right? But now we've packaged it on the go, and we have different varieties.
The Consul General in Lagos, Will Stevens, shares the reason for focusing on women.
You are the very backbone of this economy. This is where the growth is coming from. 90% of businesses in Nigeria are small and medium enterprises. And 40% of those are owned by women. And probably those are the 40% that are profitable, are the ones that are owned by women. And so having the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs, where we support you and we support your growth and connect you to the United States, is such a cool thing. But two things I want to talk about. First of all, how you support each other, because this to me it's what sets apart AWE in Nigeria from AWE in other countries. It's the cohorts. It's the fact that you stay connected, that you have your WhatsApp group. I love that you're supporting each other, investing in each other, and seeing each other grow.
Members of the AWE community say the benefits are many.
My journey so far with AWE, learning how to be a better entrepreneur, learning how to better manage your funds, how to grow your business better, and most importantly is the community of women that I have been opportuned to get to work with. From them you get to purchase stuff, they also get to purchase from you, and basically just have a beautiful hub where we can all work together to grow each other's businesses.
The U.S. Consul says that the AWE program will continue with focus on social media, e-commerce, artificial intelligence, among others.
Now to our next story, where blueberry farmers are seeking to cash in on the global demand for the fruits despite funding woes challenging the industry. Farmers say if funding is available, there's a massive growth opportunity. Zimbabwean farmers are aiming to capitalize on the increasing global demand for blueberries. But self-funded growers like Willard Zireva cite a lack of funding and minimal government support as barriers. Despite the sector's growth in recent years, banks remain wary of financing agriculture due to uncertain land tenure, making it challenging for black farmers like Zireva to grow their farming ventures. Zireva, a farmer with 12 hectares of blueberry crops in his Talana farm, located 100 kilometers west of the capital city, Harare, said he had to rely on personal savings to plant his first crop after a local bank denied him funding.
If funding is available, it is a massive growth opportunity.
Growing a hectare of blueberries in Zimbabwe requires at least $100 million to import plants, pots from Europe, and special shades for the crops. Other costs include refrigerated packaging, warehouses, and water resources. Zireva's farm aims to export 120 metric tons of blueberries to the United Kingdom, but he says demand far exceeds ability to supply.
We export to the UK. We have an export going to Germany for the first time next week. The bulk of our crop actually goes to Asia. And when I say Asia, I should be saying Far East. It goes to Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Cambodia. Those are the main markets at the moment.
Zireva says his farm requires $1.2 million to double output.
We are hoping that we can get funding next year to put in 8 hectares so that we go to 20. If we get more funding, because we are talking to various possibilities, we get more funding, we want to double the area, so to go to 24 hectares.
Zimbabwe's Horticultural Development Council says lack of long-term financing was a significant barrier to the sector's plans to double blueberry hectareage by 2030.
We're on 570 hectares and our tonnage is around 5,000, 6,000 tons annually. So we will see growth in the blueberry sector coming off on the tonnage side, but we really need to take advantage and grow the hectareage and maintain our market share.
The country's horticultural exports, driven in part by blueberries, exceed $100 million annually. The sector's exports, which peaked at $140 million in 1999, were disrupted when former President Robert Mugabe initiated the seizure of white-owned farms to resettle landless black citizens. Despite being one of the fastest-growing blueberry producers globally, with production doubling to 7,000 metric tons last year due to favorable climate conditions, Zimbabwean farmers still struggle to secure finances for their operations. And to South Africa, where the Igbo community recently gathered to celebrate Heritage Day in a vibrant and culturally rich event. The celebration, which drew a large number of young people, aimed to teach Nigerian youth living in South Africa about the traditions and customs of the Igbo culture. The event featured a colorful display of cultural pride. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samosa, brings us more on the celebration of heritage and identity.
It was a day filled with color, music and tradition as the Igbo community in South Africa came together to celebrate Heritage Month. The event focused on educating young Nigerians living in South Africa about Igbo culture, ensuring that the next generation stays connected to their roots. Attendees were treated to a demonstration of a traditional Igbo wedding, complete with customary attire and music, showcasing the rich heritage of Igbo nation. The event not only celebrated the culture, but also provided a platform for young people to learn and carry these traditions forward. The president of Igbo Nation in South Africa had this to say.
One of the things that came into me, it's to build up a lasting legacy, because it's not about us, because most of us are getting old. We need to hand over the batons to the younger ones. That is what you see today.
Organizers emphasized the importance of preserving cultural heritage, particularly for youth living away from home, to ensure that the customs and values of Igbo people continues to thrive.
The purpose, literally, it has been lovely 3 months, and the purpose was to bring the Igbo youths together, to groom them. A lot of them don't know where they're from. They don't know, they just know that my father is a Nigerian, that's it. They don't even know where in Nigeria, they don't know which state, they don't even know how to get to Nigeria from here, If something happens to their father one day, they'll have nowhere to fall back to.
Indeed, a celebration of Heritage Month in style. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
That's our show today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.